Hey everyone, welcome to another podcast episode here at High Level. We call them the Spotlight Sessions, where I bring in the top players in the world of marketing and business. Today, I have Noah. I met Noah a while ago, and him and his partner, they're doing some really cool things in the coaching and consulting space. And let me just go ahead and read you my formal bio here about Noah real quick. So he was a previous head of client experience at the 60th fastest growing company in the US, where he coached thousands of online businesses with funnels, copy, offer development, strategy, and now they have their own business, growth agency, where they fulfill as a fractional marketing partner and a management company to online coaches and consultants. And what I would love to do is just kind of learn from him and help everybody in the audience understand how coaches and consultants can scale their business. So today's topic is going to be how coaches and consultants are scaling to failure, which to me it's incredible, and that actually happens. But what we want to do is talk about 3 points to help you avoid some of those mistakes that you can make. So first thing we're going to talk about is, what Noah says, their core pillar is you're only as successful as your least successful client. And secondly, we'll talk about how most businesses in the coaching consulting space, scale till they fail. And then we'll also talk about CSMs, being empowered as your best salespeople. But before we get started, Noah, what's your story? What's your background? Help us understand your journey all the way through into your own business.
Appreciate that, man. Yeah, thank you so much for having me on here. And yeah, I'm honestly excited to share as much value as I can with obviously your audience and dive on in. So yeah, a bit about my background and experience. I started in kind of the online, I'll stick to the online marketing space. I could go into how I used to do door to door for residential painting companies and like go all the way back to like 17, 18 years old, or how I caddied when I was like 13. But I'll stick to the more relevant topic, which is the online marketing space. So I actually started in the online marketing space back in college. I pretty much just went around and did door knocking on all the local businesses in my area and just walked in. I was like, hey, do you want somebody to manage your social media? And this was back in like 2017-ish. And people were just like, who are you? Why is social media important? So that was pretty much the main start to all this here. But fast forward a few years, I met a really good friend in college who ended up becoming the CEO of the company that I was at for a while, where we scaled that company from around 125K a month to $1.5 million a month, helping coaches and consultants to also grow and scale their businesses through specifically YouTube ads. So at that company, I actually started as a part-time copywriter. Then from there, made my way up to full-time copywriter. Then from there, made my way to part-time copywriter, part-time offer optimization, and kind of like business strategy coach, to then full-time offer and business strategy coach, to then helping to oversee and lead our full client success team for the company as we scaled up, and eventually became the head of client experience, where I oversaw pretty much the fulfillment and management of over 1,000 clients over the course of about 2 to 3 years. And from there, just worked directly with the client success team to achieve the best possible results that we could for clients. So from there, I ended up starting a company where we trained up coaches and consultants on client success. And we'll talk a lot about this too, on how a lot of these companies scale till they fail. We'll talk about how to actually empower your CSMs to be the best salespeople. But through this process, what I ended up doing was training up the client success team to become a massive revenue producer inside of the business, and how to maximize client results to leverage that as your upsell mechanism, and then actually putting together winning back end offers. And through that process, myself personally, over the course of about 3 to 4 months, I sold over $600,000 of back end revenue and upsell revenue for that company. So now I taught other coaches how to do the same. That pivoted into when I brought my business partner on, Bargov, into helping coaches and consultants that we partner with specifically, that we believe are actually getting client results. And not only that we believe, that are showing that they're getting client results. And we help them to scale their business from everywhere from click to conversion on the marketing side to fulfillment and retention on the back end, with proper operating systems, client success systems, and everything they need to scale their business, not only sustainably, but ethically as well.
I love that. So why high level? Like how does that make any sense in the world of coaching the consultants?
For sure. Yeah. So kind of taking a step back too, I've seen the inside of so many different CRMs. I mean, the company I was previously at, we had a HubSpot CRM. We had a full development team that we worked with for, I think, like 9 to 10 months, just to build out the frameworks and everything that we needed. It cost tens of thousands of dollars, possibly more. I don't have all the receipts on that, but it was, not cheap to do so. And as we were going through, we were building out a lot of the systems. We had the dashboarding, we had custom dashboards. And then from there, as I started pivoting to a bit of my, a bit more of my own there, I noticed that there's so many other platforms that can do all the same elements that we had for the infrastructure of a $1.5 million per month company. And I realized that GoHighLevel pretty much does all of those. I remember the first time I ever saw GoHighLevel. It was probably 3-4 years ago. I remember going down and like seeing the list of all the different competitors, like Kajabi and all these different platforms. And I clicked on the link and I'm like, dude, this has to be a scam. I actually left GoHighLevel. Like back then, I was like, there's no way it can actually do email delivery. It can do course hosting platform. It can do community. It can do all these different things. And I was like, there's just no way. And then sure enough, I ended up downloading it a few years back and started playing around with it and using it. I'm like, this is possibly the best tool for coaches and consultants to use after seeing the infrastructure of such an incredible CRM, seeing all those same features being integrated. And not only that, too, a big thing for me, because our number one core value is we're only as successful as our least successful client. Because of that, we are always operating in our client's best interest. So we will never recommend a product or a service if we don't believe that they are innovating in a way and actually listening to their audience or listening to their clients and their customers in a way that is conducive for them to continue scaling. So for us, I've honestly just been so impressed, not just with GoHighLevel and the features on it, but even times where, maybe there's like a feature I'm like, hey, this would be very helpful, and it just doesn't have it right now. All of a sudden I get a notification a month later, hey, we have that feature, right? So just the development of it too, it just shows that in terms of like relationship to GoHighLevel, I feel that, even if there is times where maybe, let's say, a feature doesn't exist that we really want, we're confident that you are listening to the audience and that you are working directly with the consumers. And I've gone through the forums, I've seen a bit of the back end of the conversations, and just seeing that you guys really are really communicating and working in tandem with your ideal clients and your ICPs. So as a consumer, I appreciate that. And because of that, we recommend it to every single one of our clients. We've also created our own white labeled CRM that we give just to our clients. I know that you have the option to sell it, which is incredible too. Pretty much every friend I know, I'm talking to them like, yeah, I use course something. And I'm like, what is that? And I pulled up, I'm like, oh, GHL, sweet. And I see everybody in some capacities using GHL. And also, one thing that I find incredibly impressive is giving the option, which I think is just brilliant, giving people the option to develop not just the CRM for themselves, but actually saying like, hey, here's a custom CRM solution for this very specific niche or industry for agency owners, real estate professionals, coaches, and consultants. You can really customize it to be whatever it is that you want, not just for yourself, but also for your clients as well. So, I've just been incredibly impressed by it, and I've recommended it to everybody. I've played around very in depth with a lot of the features on it. I'm always impressed by it. If I've ever had an issue, which every software platform, if you're not running into issues, then chances are that it was developed like 100 years ago. Nobody touches it anymore, and it just does one thing. Anytime I've run into any roadblocks ever too, I reach out to support. Support is phenomenal. I can get in touch with them immediately, which is incredibly impressive. So yeah, everything about GoHighLevel is just so phenomenal.
We appreciate that, man. And I recently heard someone define it, I think, as most accurate as you can get in 2024, which is we truly believe High Level is the first ever operating system in the world of marketing where
Mm,
anybody and everybody can build their own CRMs.
yeah.
And I was like, wow, what a journey that allowed us to get to that statement, you know? So Noah, without any further ado, let's speak to the audience, the folks that are listening. And I know there's a lot of coaches and consultants in our world of ecosystem. So like, one of the pillars that you guys have in your business is you're only as successful as your least successful client. And, as we think about how coaches and consultants, scale to failure, how did y'all come up with that, core value? Like what's the origination? What do you build around that? How do you get your team involved in that kind of a principle?
Yeah, and I appreciate that. So the principle around it is it's honestly very simple. You create your business for what purpose? To serve an audience, to serve your clients, to help them achieve a transformation. everything in your business should be centered around giving them the best possible transformations, right? If you look at companies with low retention rates, I think the average, for example, even for agencies, the average retention rate for an agency is 3 months. My business partner Bargov has an agency he's been running. He has clients who've been with him for over 6 years, right? And the reason being is because he just focuses on how can I provide the best possible service? How can I constantly be in alignment to serve my clients at the highest level? And when it comes down to it, business is a transaction that somebody's giving you money in exchange, or strategic partnerships. But for most transactions in business, here's money, give me a transformation. And to kind of like put in tandem with the whole, and we'll talk a bit more about like how companies are scaling until they fail in a bit. But when it comes to scaling to failure, a lot of companies, what they're doing is they are not in alignment with their client success. And because of that, what they're doing is they are focusing on scaling their business, which they believe to be, hey, if I want to scale, I just need to do sales and marketing. Because why? Because every guru in the space who teaches people how to scale their business is what? A sales or marketing coach. So nobody's really talking about client fulfillment. It's actually become a bit of an epidemic. Well, again, we'll talk a bit more about that in a bit. But what they're doing is they are leaving their clients behind. Client fulfillment is breaking. Client success is falling apart. And because of that, people are not upselling. And you see all the time, when you are in alignment with your clients, you can continue to provide the best possible solutions and service for them. So you see a lot of times people are like, hey, I'm struggling with retention, or people come to me all the time and they say, hey, you're the back end offer guy, right? I'm like, well, it depends. Are your clients getting results? Because I can teach you how to build a back end offer that logistically makes sense. But if your clients aren't getting results, why would they pay you again? Or the saddest thing I'm seeing in the industry is people just charging for continued support for their offer. What does continued support mean? It means you didn't get the result. And so now they're paying you to continue to not get the result and hopefully to get the result. They already paid you for that. So why would they continue paying you? For certain niches and stuff like that, continued support, if somebody, weight loss offers and stuff like that, that's a bit of a different example there. If somebody needs accountability and continued support through that, but just offering continued support after you didn't achieve the initial transformation is honestly just, I believe, to be completely unethical when it comes to business. So when it comes down to it, you really truly are only as successful as your least successful client. That also comes down to reputation, right? If you are trying to scale your business and, let's say you have 10 clients and you've neglected two of them, that negative word of mouth from those two clients who did not succeed is going to compound and eventually ruin your business, right? And a lot of people think that because they're making a lot of cash in the short term, that they're going to be okay in the long term. But I can say it without saying it. I'm not going to name any names of anybody, but there's a lot of people in the industry who everyone just knows that about their reputation. You say like, hey, don't work with that person. Hey, that person, yeah, they did, $100 $1 million in sales, which is weird that our main metric of business's success is in a space around development is how much money they're making rather than how much transformation they're providing. So for us, a client of all of our company, what we do is we focus, like, that's why, for example, we only work with a very intimate number of clients, and we just pivoted more to the agency model. We had clients in our coaching model before. Now we switched to the agency model. We work directly with companies to scale them up. And the reason why we did that, and, obviously we were getting a lot of client success on the other end, but we just started becoming so obsessive and integrating ourselves in so many different areas of our clients' businesses that we naturally just made the shift to being 110% inside of their business with them to scale them up and make sure they're doing it properly. And because of that, like, even everything from like even how our pay structure is, like how we get compensated for our services, everything is in alignment with, we're really only profitable when our clients are. So to kind of summarize on that entire point, client success is truly your success, especially in a transformation-based business. If you're a coach or consultant, your success should be dictated by the success of your clients. So another thing we've done too, in alignment with this, is we built out like custom client success trackers for our clients. We teach them how to track their client success properly, and also how to look at like client success data. Nobody's talking about client success data. If you ask most coaches, what are the three main KPIs that you need to follow, or even what's one KPI that you need to follow for client success, they go, first of all, most coaches ask, what is a KPI? And second of all, they ask, okay, well, I have, what KPI should I be tracking? And that's something too, if anybody has questions, we always just be like, hey, here's some KPIs, here's what you need to be monitoring, and here's how you optimize based off that. So yeah, that's where we truly believe you truly are only as successful as your least successful client. And we believe that every single person, especially in the development space, and even agency space, in any sort of service-based business space, should be 100% true and should be 100% in alignment. Why else are you doing business? Why else are you taking people's money if you aren't providing them a transformation? If you are taking someone's money and neglecting them and not providing the transformation, that's called scamming, which is illegal. So yeah, and so I think we're going to see a big shift in this industry too, more focused on client success, especially over the next few years. With some people too, like Hermosi and all these people who are, starting to now preach, and very respected people in the space, rightfully so, are now starting to focus in as well too on client success, client fulfillment, make sure you're not neglecting people. Even if you have to charge more to work with less people and provide them the best possible transformations, do so.
Absolutely. So, speaking further into that first pillar, like, can you help people understand? I mean, you early on in your career, hands-on witness how to scale to almost like 1,000 clients, and mostly all coaches and consultants. Can you speak a little bit on that churn factor? Like you said, you hopped on it a little bit, but can you expand on it? Because I do think, like one of the datas that we have is online businesses churn very high. Like at the end of the day, they're cash cows. Like no matter how you go about it, because they have to go do more sales to actually build the business and scale, where expansion is not really the focus, or client success is not really the focus. So can you talk a little bit about churn that coaches and consultants deal with and why that is? Because I think that's another aspect of that first pillar of our conversation.
For sure. Yeah. So I can definitely speak to that. So when it comes to churn, the main reason why people experience it is kind of what I was alluding to before, which is um, they are so focused on front end and are completely starting to neglect back end. And this actually kind of touches into a bit of, scaling till they fail. So if you wouldn't mind, I guess I can kind of start diving a bit into that as well too.
Yeah,
Uh,
sure. Yeah. So then our second pillar is scaling to the fail. So let's just segue into it.
For sure. Yeah, we can do that. And I'll make sure to kind of bring it in alignment, because all three of the topics we're talking about today are very much in alignment with each other. So I'll kind of bounce around, but respect the structure of the pillars. So
Love it.
yes, what a lot of these companies do is they want to scale their business, right? So again, what do? These people are typically not business owners. They usually don't have business experience. If you're,
They're not
if you're a coach or consultant.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
they're not usually business operators. They just have an expertise on a topic.
Exactly. Yes, they are. And funny enough, they are fulfillment experts. Every coach who's been able to get results for their clients is a fulfillment expert. They're not typically a business operator, right? So what they do is they go, well, I love helping people and I want to help more people. And selfishly, and not in a negative way, they want to make more money, right? They want to grow their business and they want to create more impact while also making more money, which why not if you're able to provide the transformation? So they go, I need a scale. What do I do? And they get the ads. Hey, you're looking to scale your coaching business. Are you stuck at, you're struggling at 10K a month? And they get all those ads. And then they end up hiring an agency or a sales coach to say, like, hey, you need to just sell more people. You need to run ads. You need to do more organic marketing. You need to sell more clients. And then they go, oh, cool. Okay, sweet. So scaling is just literally selling more people. And they go, yep, you got it. So then from there, they, either A, their marketing message, everything isn't dialed in. They just lose a bunch of money, whole other topic. Or they start seeing some success with marketing and sales. Incredible. That's great. They can bring more people in, but they start neglecting fulfillment. And here's what we typically see. So we typically see a company doing anywhere, usually under 20K per month. It's usually a coach or consultant. They're stuck inside of client fulfillment. They are, starting to try to build up their business more, bring on more clients. So they start doing organic marketing, typically just kind of posting without a strategy. Some people get really lucky and start running paid traffic really early on, which I usually don't always recommend unless you have a validated marketing message. Again, whole other topic. But what they do is they start seeing some success with sales and marketing. They start enrolling a bunch of new clients. They start scaling up the business, scaling the business, quote unquote. I want to be very clear. It's not actual scaling. You become a sales and marketing business. And then from there, they notice that, hey, I am so busy on sales calls. I'm on 3 to 8 sales calls per day. And my clients, I don't have time to fulfill all the people I just brought on. So what they do, and we'll dive into this, this is really around the third pillar, which is bringing on a CSM. And so they hire a CSM, which I like to call is usually a warm body in the beginning for coaches. They're like, hey, I just need to focus on marketing and sales. My coach is telling me, or my agency is saying more sales, more marketing. So I need to hire a CSM. Let me hire, which by the way, a little golden nugget here, your past clients are usually your best CSMs. But they usually then hire on and reason being is because you've already trained them and they usually have already gotten success through your process. So they're the most convicted.
They're familiar with your content and the context of your ecosystem as well. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So they know you, they know your personality. They also know how to coach as you. So these people are phenomenal. So what we do, excuse me, what we see is we see people then bring on what we used to call a warm body. So they go, hey, I need to focus on this. You've been through the process. You got the results. Like, hey, just, you know, be my CSM, go in this process, just, coach people. And the person goes, aye. And they go in and they have no idea what they're doing because they've never coached somebody before in their life. They went through the process, they got the results, but they run into issues that maybe they didn't have, or they just are not a coach, so they don't understand the accountability and the importance of these things. So this CSM starts struggling, and now they have so many clients that they don't even know what to do. That now from here, this is where you start seeing the refund requests, the chargebacks. But then what a lot of coaches and consultants do is go, oh no. And it's not because they don't care about their clients. Now, there's obviously some bad apples in the space, and that's not in every industry who just don't care. But a lot of these coaches start, honestly, I've had clients in the past tell me they struggle to look in the mirror when they go to scale because they just see all their fulfillment breaking. And because of that, they feel like they caused this, this
Cycle. Yeah.
cycle inside their business, and it's a very vicious cycle. And then they go, well, if I'm losing revenue and clients are dropping off, what do I need to do? I need to sell more on the front end. And this is where things get really, really messy. So now, you start hiring sales reps, you start bringing on marketing people, you start bringing on salespeople. And I've seen some people who've done this model and have scaled to $1 million months. And what they end up doing is they end up creating a massive army of not happy paying customers, but people who hate their guts and people who want to like see them burn at the stake. Right. And it's really like, it's first of all, it's sad. Second of all, it's unethical. And third of all, it's stupid. It's not how to scale a business. It doesn't make sense to
Well,
do it that
and respectfully, a lot of them get to that stage blindly. They're not intentionally trying to get there.
way. Exactly.
They're just blind in the scaling. They're blind in the trenches of scaling, and they're like, run more ads, run more ads. Let's bring in more cash. But then the bigger they go, the thinner the margins because they have more overhead. They have more, some of them don't, save up for taxes and all these random things that just hit them hard out of nowhere, and then all of a sudden they're just on thin ice.
100%. And what I want to say too, and I want to clarify, these people aren't stupid for doing it. It's a stupid model of scaling. And I don't blame the coaches because the coaches, now granted, they need to take accountability for what they've developed, but I honestly really blame a lot of the marketing and salespeople in the industry who encourage this style of scaling because they make more money when these clients do this until they no longer have a client because that company collapses. Like you just mentioned, they now are hiring a bunch of people into the system. Now they're doing 100, 200, 300, 500K months with massive overhead. So then the second front end sales slows down, the company collapses.
Yeah. Yeah. So Noah, what's the right way to scale?
Yeah, that's a there's a lot to this, but I will give a high level roadmap of typically we find the best way to do it. So first, and I'll just like pretty much like spill the roadmap that I recommend. So first is first is I'll start from like the very beginning. I'll start from the beginning to the past 100K months. And then from there to get to like 300, 500 million, 1.5 million, there's a lot of like operational complexity and systems that starts kind of getting developed out at that stage. So I'll stick more to like the 0 to 100K per month because that's what would be, I think, most valuable here. So first is if you are starting a coaching business, land your first few clients. One of the best ways that I found to do it is just through outbound, like outbounding people. You don't need to start running paid traffic, and you 1,000% should never start running paid traffic until you have a validated marketing message and a validated sales process. What I mean by validated is you have organic content that's proven to convert, and you have a sales process that also proven to convert. Once you do that a few times, I wouldn't just say after one sale, unless you have, depending on where people come to us, different stages, we recommend different things. But if you're in the beginning, validate your marketing message and your sales process. And not only validate that, validate your client success and your fulfillment process. So as you're going through with your first client, don't try to build the business before they go into it. Build the business alongside a handful of clients. Build the course content. Go through and manually coach. And then please, for the love of God, do not just record your coaching sessions and make that your workshop content. Please actually build out a structure and a curriculum and a framework. After you have a few clients go through it, you can actually look back at your process and go, huh, first call I always have, I discussed these same topics here. And does this need to be a call? No, put it into a workshop content. Yes. Okay, let's make this their onboarding call or whatever that is. From there, now that you have a proven client success roadmap and you have your front end your front end marketing and sales validated, from here, now the next step is to keep testing your marketing and sales and keep getting client success and client results early on. Once you start bringing in consistent revenue, I usually don't recommend starting running ads until you're doing, depending on the type of ads too, like certain ads are just more expensive. Like and depending on like the funnel strategy you're using, they can be more expensive. But from there, you can start running some pretty basic ads. Usually I would say past a 10K mark. From there, what we like to do is work with them on that. And then so I'm just now this is kind of getting to where a lot of our service picks up here. Starting to run some ads, starting to validate the sales marketing process, but also before hiring a sales rep, you should hire a CSM before your bandwidth gets too constrained. And from there, what you do is you now train up the CSM to now be the U of fulfillment and actually having them watch the calls with you, having them hop on client calls with you, having them go through the entire program again if they need to, and then also making sure that this person is fully trained up. One of the cool things that we do too, I've trained dozens and dozens of CSMs. And through that process, or clients who work with us, we actually train their CSM like with them. I don't want to say completely for them. We teach them the CSM principles. The only thing we can teach them on is how the subject matter experts or the subject matter experts expertise. We can coach, on that, but we do coach on how to be a productive CSM, how to think of revenue producing activities, how to do revenue producing activities inside of the business. From there, what we want to do early on is start establishing some sort of form of retention. Now, this could be a high ticket mastermind. It could be another coaching program. It could be a high ticket, mid ticket, low ticket MRR offer, monthly recurring revenue. So just having somebody on recurring and having some sort of offer developed out. The solution to that offer and the solution to having a back-end offer is a few things. One, you want to think of the new solution to their next problem. So if somebody is, for example, with fitness, their next problem after they graduate your program, the first problem was they were overweight. They got the solution. They're now at a healthy weight. The new problem is you might struggle with accountability, right? So from there, you may need to develop an accountability support group, or you might need to do more one-on-one accountability, or you have a higher ticket service where you now help them with other things such as bulking or cutting, like whatever it is that they want to do, and help them with personalized health goals, right? So and I know I'm using like health and fitness. It's the same principle across, trading coaches. We typically work with like ROI based offers. So people who help people to usually generate some sort of revenue online or make money or teach them some sort of revenue producing process. So from there, once you now have the validated offer and you now have a validated backend offer, the big thing is now actually deploying and leveraging your CSMs to help you sell that offer, or in the beginning, at least set those appointments for you to sell that backend offer. So now what you have is you have your front end marketing completely dialed in, your sales process is dialed in, you now have fulfillment dialed in, and you have monthly recurring revenue or another source of revenue. And this is how you can literally double your business without bringing on a single new client. Like it really, when people are like, oh, that it sounds like just like a sexy tagline, it's you brought somebody in and now you're making more money from them again. You just literally doubled your business.
So it sounds
Right.
like what you're saying is instead of just getting more new people in the ecosystem, think about the student experience and expand with the right experience to the point where you're creating internal offers for them to ascend through. And subscription is probably a pretty attractive way to do that. Can you expand a little bit more on the type of different offers and that whole scaling piece?
In terms of like back end offers or like retention offers?
Yes, yes, yes.
For sure. Yeah. So there's a few, and it's really a custom solution for everybody, right? Some people come in and they'll talk to us and they'll be like, hey, I want a MRR based offer. And honestly, based on their type of business, it may not make sense to have an MRR based offer, right? So this is one thing that a lot of, I think, coaches, they're like, oh, well, somebody's saying that they're going to teach me how to build a back end subscription based offer. It may not make sense for your business model. So what you have to do, right? And this is why your client success is your success. If your client is continuously successful, you now get to see the actual problems even later on down the line, even past your initial transformation. So you can build custom solutions for that. So, I'll use like a few different examples. Let's use like a trading coach, for example. Like we have a couple of clients who do trading, who help people to become profitable traders. We have, we don't work with fitness as much, but I've worked with hundreds of fitness coaches in the past. So we'll use fitness. And then we'll use like a networking offer or something. I don't know exactly what the networking offer would look
Yeah,
like,
maybe
but we'll use
do real estate.
real estate for sure. Yeah. So, okay. So each one of these businesses would have a different, just kind of off the top of my mind, would have a few different types of offers. So for a fitness coach, what's the first problem that they're solving? Let's say being overweight. So now they go through and they help this person achieve that new goal. They could have, enough for them, like a very high ticket mastermind. They're most likely going B2C. Now, if you're working, maybe you work with entrepreneurs, right? Like, and you help entrepreneurs get in better shape. Yes, you could have like maybe like a health and fitness and mindset mastermind where you have all these people who are growth minded and also take care of their bodies and care about their bodies. Now, if you're going to more B2C, like to a consumer market, they probably don't have the investment unless you're, again, working with high income professionals, right? So really, that's where I'm saying it really depends on who it is that you work with and your offer. But you could do like a high ticket mastermind, or you could do, maybe for a consumer market you could either do a accountability, like a monthly accountability, or what you can do as well is have like a high ticket coaching offer where it's like, okay, now that we got you into better shape, you probably have more personalized health goals, right? So you may want to start bulking, you may want to cut, you may want to, focus on another area of your health and fitness. From there, you can sell them into what would be more of like another back end high ticket offer. So there's that. But then from there, let's say with, a trading offer, a monthly subscription based service might make sense if you're continuously helping them with trading, right? And maybe you do like funded trading or something like that. You help people get funded and they may potentially lose their funding. So part of the retention is helping them to retain their funding. If you are, just trying to teach them a new trading strategy, like a whole new trading strategy after you help them succeed with the first one and becoming a profitable trader, then you could sell a high ticket service-based business there and teach them a new strategy. Excuse me, not high ticket service-based business, another high ticket service. That's kind of in the whole service-based business mindset there. Another high ticket service for that. And you could have a high level trading mastermind where maybe you trade together with people, like the CEO is actually trading with a small handful of people. And the biggest thing too is not just trying to sell everybody into every retention offer. It's finding the right offer that makes sense for that person. Another big mistake I see too, though, is people try to create a massive back-end offer suite. Like, hey, and you can work with me for an extra $50 a month, but you could also do this and this and this. First of all, the more options, just a sales principle, the more options you give to somebody, the more likely they are to say no to all of them. And now the other thing is you need to, when you work so close with your clients, the solution that they need. And even, this is something that I'll even, say that I've experienced as well. At one point, I even developed a back end offer before my program was completed. And at that point, I got to the end and I was talking with my client. I was going through showing them the new offer I developed. And they were like, this is great. It sounds cool. And like, yeah, I'd like this. I don't need it. And I was like, whoa, interesting. Okay. So then I literally just talked to them for about an hour and said, well, what is it that you need? And here's another point too, right? So I said earlier, one of the things is solving the next problem. The other thing when developing a winning back end offer is focusing on is doing another way to think about it too is doing something for them that they could do better on their own, or excuse me, that they could do on their own, but you could do it better for them. So as we were talking with our clients, we helped them with client success. Our previous software was building out client success systems, operating systems inside the business to allow them to scale. Because usually a lot of the clients we're working with already had the marketing and sales experience, but their fulfillment broke at a certain point and they came to us to fix it. So from there, they now have all the components and they could start running their own ads. They could start training up their sales team. They could continue training their CSMs, but they knew that we could do it better for them. So they hired us because they said, yes, I can do this. However, I want to buy back leverage so I can focus on operating and managing the business as the CEO and allow you guys to help me with the not the day-to-day operation, but the day-to-day optimization and scaling that needs to happen inside the business. And also, we pretty much call ourselves a fractional CEOs. Me and my business partner, we talk with the CEOs every single day and work directly with them and their teams and help them through anything from even mindset, limiting belief blocks to if they're struggling with an employee and they need help talking through that, we're always just there to support them on that. So when it comes to the back end offer, though, it's providing the next solution, which again, all aligns back to if you actually care about your client's success and you're in alignment with it, then these solutions will naturally bring themselves to you. So a lot of times, one thing, big piece of advice here: do not try to build a back end offer until you have a successful client. Then work with that successful client to reveal what the back end offer is.
I love that. There's a lot to unpack here. And
Yeah.
I appreciate the thorough, blueprint that you're sharing. So, after working with like 1,000+ clients and scaling, and you've seen these consultants and coaches do really well and, some struggle either way. But can you speak to maybe some coaches and consultants out there that are not using high level, or they don't have an operating system of any kind or CRM? Like, where do they get started before they even come to you or a company like you to just even work? Like, let's just say somebody can't afford your service yet, but they want to get in touch with high level however they can. Like, what should they do?
For sure. So what I guess, are you asking for people who are earlier on?
Correct.
What is the
Yeah,
best way to leverage high
exactly.
level or something like that?
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
Or an expert like you in general. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So if you're early on, here's the thing. Don't try to leverage experts like me yet. First, just if anything, I would look. I mean, even like Alex Ramosi has great stuff on, appointment setting frameworks or, reaching out to people to get your first few clients. Go down that path. You don't need to hire like a $10,000 guru to validate and build an offer. What you need to do is know what you're talking about. If you're somebody, for example, who's very into fitness, or let's say you've been trading for the past 10 years and you're a very successful trader and you know that you're a good coach, you're not just an expert, you actually are a good coach and want to coach people to achieve the same result, then from there, uh, just follow those simple outbounding strategies. Go on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, wherever your ideal client is. And then from there, just start messaging people, land your first few clients. And then from there, once you have those initial results, now you can start leveraging some. I would start, at that stage, once you have a few clients, from here, just really focus on getting those clients the best possible results. You don't need, again, you don't need to hire gurus. You don't need to hire any trainers. Once you start feeling constraints in your business, you're going to notice some constraints early on. Whatever that constraint is, and if it's something that you feel like is either A, going to take you too much time to solve on your own, or B, you just can't find the answer to it, that's when you want to deploy an expert. In terms of using something like GoHighLevel, you can honestly, I mean, you have your base plan, which I think is very favorable to a lot of people who are just starting off. I think it's 97 per month. And that base plan, I mean, you can integrate your Instagram to GoHighLevel early on, and that way you in Facebook as well. So you can actually track the messages that you're generating, the emails, the texts, the calls that you're doing. You probably don't need in the beginning, you can kind of use your personal number. Eventually you'll probably want to leverage. I know you guys, I think, use is it
Yeah.
you have a phone
Twilio.
number.
Yeah. Yeah.
Twilio, yeah, yeah. So you guys leverage Twilio. So if you're that early on, you don't need the phone number yet. As you start scaling and as you want to kind of protect more of your personal information, yes, get a phone number once you actually start the process of scaling. But you can use that to also track leads. But also, here's something that a lot of people don't do, and this is something that you can leverage, especially a CRM for, is creating what I like to call the program stages. So when you go into, for example, GoHighLevel, you're going to go to the opportunities tab. And in opportunities, you're going to see that there is, it's usually like sales, marketing. So you can create like new lead, 30-day stale lead, one lead, lost lead, whatever. Right? So it's all marketing and sales. You can create a new pipeline and instead do the stages of your client success fulfillment, right? So for example, onboarding call booked, onboarding call complete, if you're a fitness coach, nutrition roadmap call booked, nutrition roadmap call complete. And you can actually use the CRM to track your client success as they go through the different stages, and then add notes under that client's profile as they're going through. And that way you can actually not only just track their results, but you can actually use those notes to, for example, if you're doing weekly check-ins with them, and now you can actually start tracking it. And not only is this great for you to start practicing and implementing yourself, but when you go to hire a CSM, you need a process for them. Having a CSM throwing them into the process and just being like, hey, here's the coaching program. Good luck. Make sure clients are getting results is very rude of you to do. Make sure that you actually have an operating process for them. And that is probably the simplest way to keep them incredibly organized. So here's the thing. There's a lot of softwares I usually wouldn't recommend getting off the bat. And most of the features that GoHighLevel has are probably not relevant or useful to you, especially if you're earlier on in the process. However, there are still features at every stage that I notice that can be beneficial and useful for you. So especially if you're early on, what you're more doing is training yourself the habit and the discipline of keeping your business organized. Going through your CRM is honestly it becomes incredibly robotic, and like constantly having to update your CRM. And it's not always fun to do. It's 1,000% necessary to do. You need to keep your business organized, especially as you start scaling. You need to start establishing these good principles early on. So if you don't have any clients yet at all, then if you don't have a business, then you probably don't need GHL. But if you are in the process of starting to, let's say, do a lot of outbounds, you set a KPI, you're going to send 100 outbound or 50 or 20 outbound messages a day. In the beginning, realistically, you're probably going to send like 20 to 50 outbounds a day. And then from there, you want to try to ramp yourself up to 100 if you can. And then from there, once you land those first few clients, I would definitely have GHL installed. Or if you're going to be doing, again, a lot of outbounds, you can integrate your Instagram or Facebook with GHL. And from there, you can actually track all the conversations that you're having. So now you get into the good practices of how to do that. So then if you do bring on an appointment setter, for example, you now have already done that system, you've done that process, you can create SOPs and trainings around that too.
I love that. So let's do the reverse. I know you guys have scaled to like 1.5 million a month plus and seen thousands of clients. So like, what about the coaches and consultants that are listening to this and they're already past maybe like the 100 grand a mark a month, which is pretty common in that space. Like a lot of them get there pretty quickly. So speak to that audience a little bit and maybe expand a little bit on the KPIs or OKRs that you're looking at that makes sense for them.
For sure. So yeah, so if you're past that point, you probably, everything I've talked about to this point probably already makes sense to you. You're probably doing some version of this. If you are not, I know everything I just said sounds very, honestly, in some way elementary for some of you coaches who are doing past 100K a month. If you are not doing it, you're probably seeing a lot of the friction inside of your business. You see that your fulfillment isn't doing super hot. So please make sure you are doing those things. If you already are doing those things, to leverage GHL past that level. And one thing I want to clarify too, it's not the company I own that we did that at. I was inside of another company where we scaled, to 1.5 million per month.
Right.
But through that process, I saw the insides of over 1,000 coaching businesses. I was on anywhere from like minimum 4 to upwards of 7 coaching calls per day for like 3 years straight with all different coaches, consultants across all different niches and verticals. So, so kind of been there, done that, seen a lot of things. So from there, if you're already past that point, the main thing that you want to focus on now is actually dashboarding and managing your data. Now, a lot of people don't actually either A, know how to manage or generate client success data, or B, they don't know how to optimize based off of that too. So as you scale, right, when you think of like any product, think about the iPhone. They come out literally every year, I don't know the frequency. I'm not an iPhone. I have an iPhone, I'm not an iPhone stand, so I don't know the exact frequency. But what you see is that they're constantly optimizing and developing out the new product, and they're doing that based off of user data, based on what people need, based on what people want. And that's why people are consistently buying back the new products, right? So for example, inside of your business, if you own a coaching consulting business, you have a productized service and you need to treat it as such. You need to treat it as a product that needs to be consistently optimized. So at that point, one, just in terms of like, I'll go into data and KPIs here in a second. But in terms of just like overall coaching, making sure that your business is optimized for the scale that you're at, right? Do you have a massive bloated team of CSMs, or is your operations team constantly in shambles? Do you even have an operations person? Making sure that your systems and everything are in place, and make sure that you are using some level of dashboarding, whether or not you are exporting data from GHL into Sheets to analyze it better, whether or not you have, custom dashboarding solutions, or using something, in contingent with all this like Hyros to track your ads, making sure that you have your data organized in a way that you can actually leverage that data. That's the biggest thing at that stage. And I know GHL, you have your dashboarding functions. I know that you're actually building out more of those right now, making them more robust too, which is incredible. So leveraging dashboards and actually trying to leverage the right data to optimize your business based on that. So from here, some of the main KPIs that we like to track in terms of client success, we like to track, and so we have like our primary and then our kind of like sub-primary KPIs. The biggest ones, first of all, are upsells. And also, funny enough, is actually we like to track, above all else, is our client experience KPIs. So what we like to track is, are not only are the clients getting results, but also are the clients happy. The key to retention is having happy clients who are willing to pay you more money because you help them achieve the initial transformation. That's all it breaks down to. There's really no other anything outside of that. The clients are happy and you have the next logistical solution for them. They've already proven to invest in you, so why wouldn't they invest in you again? So from there, what we like to track is, anything from, video testimonial KPIs. How many video testimonials are you getting? And you set those the way we typically, I'll get to that in a second in terms of how we set our KPIs for that. So we usually like to do online reviews, video testimonials, and from there, upsell KPIs. Those are like the three primary ones that we actually like to track. And from there, and you can look at like, your experience KPIs. Also, you can measure NPS, like your net promoter score on a scale of 1 to 10. How satisfied are they with their experience so far? And I guess the other main KPI actually is just how many clients are getting the result. Like that actually, and in terms of hierarchy, that is literally just the most important KPI. Are they actually getting the results? Because if you're constantly not getting results, then you shouldn't be in business. Or you need to optimize your business right now, or yesterday, or a few months back, whenever you hired your marketing guru or your sales guru. So from there, the main KPI obviously is client results. From there, we like to look at experience KPIs. Are clients happy? Are they getting results? And are they buying again? So in terms of how to set those KPIs, typically what we like to do is we like to set the KPI to around like 80% of whatever, or the total amount of clients who are entering the stage of that program where it makes sense to capture that. For example, if let's say, we usually like to use online reviews for more experience-based KPIs. We like to use video testimonials for more once they get results, so we can highlight the results in video. And then from there, you can always have people go back and update their experience results. For example, let's use Trustpilot or whatever. So the main KPIs so the way we like to set those is we like to take 80% of the total amount of people entering that stage of the program where that KPI makes sense. So let's say, for example, you have your nutrition roadmap call. Everyone after that is blown away. It's the big light bulb moment that they've been waiting to have inside of it, and a fitness offer. And let's say you have 10 people entering that. We set the KPI for 8, and then we set a stretch goal to 10. So 10 would be the total amount of people. 8 is, an 80% of that KPI, which is fair. Obviously, we want to get more than that. When it comes to upsells, it does somewhat depend per industry, but you should be seeing at least an over 60 to 70% upsell rate. The company has previously had my upsell rate, I believe, and this was from $1,800 offers up to 85K masterminds. My personal upsell rate, I think it was like 85.6 something percent on upsells. So with that being said, making sure that you're setting the right upsell KPIs and making sure that people are buying again. And then obviously tracking client results. One thing that's also important to do though is also optimize based on, for example, how long it's taken them to accomplish different stages of the process and how long it's taken them to get results, continuously to optimize your product to get the quickest results possible, maximize your TTV, your time to value, and from there, leverage that as your ability to upsell people into the back end.
I love that. So with respect to how coaches and consultants are, scaling to failure in a sense, what are your final thoughts as we kind of close out?
Yeah. So when it comes to coaches and consultants scale until they fail, first, I want to say if you're a coach or consultant watching this, you need to take accountability, but it's not your fault. right? And in a lot of ways, you've probably been conditioned or trained or coached by an agency, a marketing coach, a sales guru, that in order to scale your business, you need sales and marketing to be your primary focus, which is true when you're fulfillment styled in. So if you feel like right now that you're struggling, your clients aren't getting the results that you know that they need to, and you truly, or two things. One, if you know that you actually can't get the results, like if you have never, let's say you're running a trading offer, you were profitable for a few months and now you're not really profitable anymore, stop running your trading offer. You are not helping anybody. You are not serving the market. You are scamming people. Like that's literally, hey, the snake poison is going to, or the snake, or I forget the snake oil is going to change your life. You're selling snake oil if you're not actually getting results. If you know that you can get results and your fulfillment isn't working or your clients are not getting the results that you need to spend way more time in fulfillment. If anything, you need to slow down. We've actually had clients in the past stop sales and marketing altogether for a brief period of time. I still recommend continuing marketing going, not paid, but organic to create wait lists and stuff like that for when your fulfillment's optimized. But we've had clients stop sales literally just to dive back into fulfillment. And now they're all scaling like crazy because they took the time to do it. If you read the book Traction, and that's another thing too, anyone who doesn't understand operating, please read the book Traction. But I forget the name of the company, but there was a company in there that literally shut down their business for I think like 6 to 18 months, somewhere in that range, just to like rebuild all their operating systems. And then now they're scaling, I think like 5% year over year over year over year. So with that said, if you are in the process and you feel like you are scaling to failure, that your client success isn't doing well, you're constantly chasing front end revenue. Few things to do. Number one, cut all overhead, cut the bloating of the team, just cut down and simplify your business again. It doesn't need to be complicated. Coaching businesses are meant to have massive margins. You should not be feeling really constrained by your business in terms of always having to chase front end revenue. So cut down on any bloating. And this is also, again, for companies who are even like the 50 or the 40 to 100K range. We see this a lot too. But even beyond this, the companies that I've worked with who are doing 3 to 5 million per month, some companies that, doing $100 million per year, excess bloating, overcomplication or undersimplification of systems, making sure that your systems are just simple, but also effective. And from there, focus on your clients. If you take care of your clients will take care of you. If you get your clients results, they will continue to pay you. If you show the love to your clients, they will continue to love you. And from there, you can actually scale your business long term. And to wrap it up, you are only as successful as your least successful client.
Wow, it's been an incredible session here. Noah, how can people find you? Where can they, get in touch base with you? What are your socials and handles and sites and all that? So that way they can at least, figure out a way to contact you.
Appreciate it, man. Yeah. Yeah. So you can just find me on Instagram, Noah Friedman. It's literally just my name, no abbreviations, no dots or dashes or anything like that. You can find me there, post a lot of content, a lot about this stuff here too. If you ever have any questions on scaling your business, if you are, if you're in the place where you're trying to scale your business from, around the 20K a month mark, past that 100K mark and do it sustainably and ethically, then, we can definitely talk there. If you're beyond that point, we could still talk as well too. And if you ever just have any questions, and even if you're not our ICP, our ideal client profile, then we are still more than happy to just give you value. Me and my business partner just love giving goodwill. We actually do what are goodwill sessions or just spit value. We have a bunch of free resources. We have a whole school community we can invite you to with a bunch of free CSM operations resources. So reach out to me and we're more than happy to help you in any way we can.
Well, Noah, thanks for stopping by, man. We appreciate your time. And if any of you are watching this and don't even have a high-level account for any reason, take a look at the descriptions or links or somewhere around here. You might be able to jump into a 30-day trial, which we would invite you to. And Noah, thanks for stopping by.
Appreciate you, Paulson. Thank you, man.
All right, take care.
See ya.